Morning, everyone. And before we start, I would like to thank everybody here for being here and being able to give us your attention. I know you're very busy people. We are the Dora Milaje, which if you've ever watched Black Panther, you would know that the Dora are an all-female military unit of the Wakandan nation, and they represent Black pride and Black excellence, so we feel like it's a very fitting name for us. Today, we would like to talk to you about our new service, Unite. And to kick it all off, I would like to introduce our Chief Legal Officer, Destiny Bryant, to open up our presentation.
Thank you, Maya. Did you know? Did you know that in the last 2 weeks alone, 19 protesters have been killed, with a significant contributor being the lack of organization and communication? Today, the team of Unite plans to touch on our goals, what we do as a team, our budget, and our website. Next, our graphic designer, Kaylin, is going to be talking about who we are as a brand.
Unite is a mobile app that aims to help citizens use their rights to protest in a safe, organized fashion. Our mission is to promote the organization of protest, eliminate dangers of protesters, and bring communities together. Our logo represents water, and water is a symbol of hope, peace, and prosperity, which is something we want to promote at Unite. Next is our lead consultant, Chloe.
Thank you, Kaylin. Now I will talk about the services Unite has to offer. There are no other apps like us out there. Current efforts to aid protesters online are very limited, most of which are found on Facebook groups from a few small towns. Regarding protesting, civil rights leader John Lewis said, "You cannot be afraid to speak out for lead. You have to have courage, raw courage." While protesting, people may face complications that beyond their courage. However, we created an app to allow protesters to truly focus on their cause. Our solution was to create a platform that combats any setbacks that may arise whether you're planning a protest at home or in the streets. Unite gives members of communities a platform to interact, offers a live feed with updates on upcoming protests, extends accessibility to all mobile platforms at no cost to the user, provides information about protesting and individual state rights, and holds features that allow users to be in contact or stand by whenever and wherever. I would now like to introduce our financial analyst, Marley, who will be talking about problems Unite wants to solve.
Thank you, Chloe. Scoping out the problem. According to BBC News, on May 31st, 2020, Chicago suffered its deadliest day in the past 60 years due to police brutality. 18 Black Lives Matter protesters were killed by Chicago PD, and this is due mostly to disorganization. Now I'll go on to talk about our marketing and funding. So our target market are people 18 to 44. And this is because these are the main people protesting. We plan to reach this demographic by using YouTube, Instagram, and Spotify ads because these platforms have a large target market like Unite. And to reach our older demographic, we plan to use reviews because mainly 29 to 44-year-olds will believe reviews more than they do an ad. And I'll go on to talk about our budget plan. So in our budget plan, you can see our marketing expenses, our yearly expenses, how much it'll cost to launch our business, and sponsorships, which is where we're going to get most of our startup money from. Now I'll pass it on back to our lead consultant, Chloe, to talk about the process.
Thank you, Marley. I will now explain the process you must take in order to start your own protest. This process is necessary to ensure there will be no protests that support hate organized through our app. The first stage of the application process is the intake. During the intake, the user will fill out an application located on the Unite website about the protest they want to start. Second is the triage. A triage is when you sort things or people based on the severity of their wants and needs. In the course of the triage, we at Unite will work on connecting you to available resources to support your movement. Third is the feedback. This is when we will follow through after the review of your protest. Following the feedback, if approved, we hope to see you and others protesting under the safety of our app. To close us out, Maya will talk about our website.
Thank you very much, Chloe. So if we go here, we can see a little bit about our website. So immediately when we open the website, you will be greeted with a quote from Elie Wiesel, who was a Holocaust survivor. And the quote reads, "There may be times when we are powerless to prevent injustice, but there must never be a time when we fail to protest." As we continue down the page, you will see our mission statement and what we fight for. You can learn more about our mission at Unite by going to our admissions page, or our mission page. The further down we scroll, we can see some of the very important protests that have gone on in America, such as the ongoing protests in Portland, Oregon, sparked by the horrifying murder of George Floyd that continues to this day against police brutality. If we go up here, we can take a look at some of the features that Unite will offer. So to start us off, you can start a protest. So Unite encourages all activists to start protests in their communities because we want to inspire people to make a change. You can go into the Get Involved tab on our website and fill out an application. And once your application is reviewed by Unite and accepted, your protest will be marketed on our website and our app. You can also find protests in your area. So when you sign up for our mobile app, you will receive notifications of a protest in your area, as well as any relevant information that may make it safer for you to participate. And like we said before, safety is a very, very big priority for us. And all activists that are either near a protest or actively involved in a protest will be getting updates about important information such as any expected counter-protests, any expected police presence, and any alerts that users might need during a protest. Should an activist need any type of emergency services, the Unite mobile app is equipped with an SOS option to alert emergency services after a 5-second grace period. You can also find what we call safe houses. Safe houses are places where people in the community can register their homes, their businesses, or if they have buildings such as churches, and you can offer your services to active protesters. So in the app, when you go in, you will be able to see all types of safe locations, not just safe houses, but you can also see places where food and water is offered to protesters, as well as if you need medical aid, you can find places like that. If you would like to learn more about registering for a safe house, we can go over here and look at our contract. And our Chief Legal Officer, Destiny, will be here to explain everything in this contract.
Thank you. The contract here that is being shown is basically explaining that when you register your house as a safe house, you are signing away legal rights to sue Unite if any physical property damage happens or if there's any risk with the police. Registering your house as a safe house requires a contract and it requires you to be of legal age of 18. You also need to be on the lease to own that house to offer that property out. I'll be switching back to our web designer, Maya.
Thank you very much. So something I would like to go over real quick. Unite is a nonprofit organization, and the way that we intend to make money to help keep our app running is through contributions and donations. So Unite is very much committed to serving the American communities, and we do not believe that it's okay to profit off of the struggles of protesters. So all donations will go towards expanding Unite to communities all across America, and any donations that exceed the needs of Unite will be relocated to notable charity organizations such as Resist, Integrate NYC, and Disability Justice Culture Club. I'll now be switching back over to Destiny so that we can go over our conclusion.
Thank you. Overall, Unite will have a remarkable impact on the world and its users. We will always follow our mission to promote the safety of protesting in America. We pride ourselves in providing a platform where voices for the community can be amplified. Stand with us and we'll take care of you.
Now, before we finish, I would just like to give a very big thank you to everyone in this program who made it possible for us to participate, especially given the current global climate. I know that things have been very hard, so we really appreciate being able to give the youth a chance to let out our creativity in a way that is most productive. And I would like to give, on behalf of all of us, a very big thank you to Miss Farrington, because she has been such an amazing mentor and she has helped us so much. I just want to say thank you. We really appreciate everything you've done for us. So thank you for listening.
Outstanding. Good job, team. Good job. Yay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. So just one thing I didn't do prior to us the start of this was to let those who aren't familiar with what their charge was know exactly what our teams are charged with doing. So they are to take social justice issue, concern, situation, and figure out a way to develop a product, service, app, organization that would support a message of awareness, or of some kind of solution to these issues. So I did just want to make sure that you guys understood the prompt before we go into the questions. And so at this time, you guys, we're going to have 7 minutes of questions and answers. All of our audience, anyone can ask the questions that are in the audience. Feel free to ask them of our team. And if you don't mind, I actually have one that I want to start off. You mentioned your sponsors, and I was trying to see you kind of scrolling a little quickly on that. I don't know if you want to go back to that. There you go. Why did you choose those sponsors?
So I can speak to that. So Destiny and I did a lot of extensive research about sponsorships and applications for sponsorships. And we looked into these businesses because they've supported businesses like ours that are nonprofits that are trying to help the community with addressing social justice matters. And those amounts are a lot of what they've given to other businesses that are trying to help the community. So that's kind of how we came up with that.
Yeah, basing off of what Marley said, every sponsorship listed here, which is Ben Jerry's, Walmart, and Ubisoft, every brand here has already donated towards protests, whether it's a Black Lives Matter organization or a Women's Change organization. We made sure to find the average and make sure that everything that they were setting the boundaries for, such as being a nonprofit organization, that we were, and that we're abiding by the law.
And we also wanted to make sure that when we accepted a sponsorship from someone, it would be someone that matched our values. So we did overlook some companies like Chick-fil-A and Home Depot if they had some type of questionable donations to any type of political organization that may not be as supportive of our message.
Gotcha. Very good, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Very good presentation. I enjoyed looking at it. So the question is, you mentioned about not allowing anybody to utilize it that would be promoting kind of hate and things of that nature. Seen in recent times this whole debate around the Black Lives Matter movement and kind of the other side of the protests and things of that nature. So how do you, in terms of thinking about really monitoring that, how would you go about really keeping it from getting into the wrong side of the protest per se?
Well, I'm so very glad that you asked that, because we have an FAQ page where we actually cover that. So one of the questions that some people may ask when they apply for getting their protest accepted is that we very much believe in freedom of speech and that it is a very powerful and fundamental right that all Americans hold. We do promote having a platform that is promoting the safety of protests, but we also have a mission of inclusivity and making sure everyone is safe. And to that end, we refuse any type of protest that may be deemed as hate speech, or any protest that may be organized by a hate group, terrorist organization, or anyone associated with such groups. So say, for example, the leader of the Ku Klux Klan decided to use our platform to try and endorse his protest, that would immediately be denied by our reviewing process. And I can also take you over to our application. So you have to provide stuff like your name, your email, your address, when and where your protest is happening, but also describing your problem and your goal for the protest, because we want to make sure that if people are protesting, they're doing it in a safe and, more importantly, effective way. So if someone is trying to endorse violence, obviously those are going to be things that we won't be comfortable with, and so those applications will be rejected.
Thank you very much for that. Like you thought about it. Good.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
First of all, love this idea. I think it's so great. When I was going to some of the protests, I wish I would have had something like this. So just a few concerns as someone that was at these things. One would be kind of some of the points that were hit on earlier with security. So I don't know if you guys have seen, there's another app called Signal. I don't know if that came up at all, but that's another one that a lot of protesters used. And kind of one thing I'm fearful of with this is security and like encryption, because I could see you guys are collecting such great information and like trying to pull together all these resources, but I just wonder how secure it will be. Is this going to be, are you guys thinking about like encryption or something else to make sure that when people hack this, they're not going to be able to see all of these people that are trying to create these protests and do these great things and all of their housing addresses and all that stuff. I'm just really worried about that data. And like, you'll find that, as you guys mentioned, with protesters, like this is a big thing on their mind. And I know a lot of people that don't even bring their phones to protests sometimes because they're so scared of getting hacked or getting followed. So I just love to hear if you guys, and if that also, I don't expect that's like encryption something that's come up, but just like if you guys have any response to that.
Yes.
Well, I didn't do, I'm gonna let you talk after because I didn't do a bunch of extensive research on that. But in the budget plan included was that I researched how much it would cost for security measures for our app. And that's included in the budget plan as far as security and web design. So that is folded into the cost, but I'll let Destiny speak more on that.
Yes, so obviously at Unite, one of our biggest worries is our user safety, and that was the whole prominent point of the app being created, is that we want everything to be safe for the protesters because you guys are out there risking your lives for what matters to you. So now if the app wasn't metaphorical and it was something that we were actually sitting down and creating, which it is as of now, we would definitely make sure that encryption would not be a problem because it has happened to so many other apps. Even big apps such as Facebook has had problems with information being leaked. So that would probably be one of our top priorities to address, because if we cannot guarantee your safety, then we would not open the app, because we want your information to be safe because you're standing up what means something to you.
I absolutely agree. And Unite, we don't plan on gathering any type of user data. So like our general protesters who are simply using the app to find protests near them, we won't be like asking for their address. We may ask for like a zip code and just use the surrounding area. So that might be something to ensure the safety of. And in the application, when it's talking about like the address and something like that, it's mainly asking the address towards where you are looking to focus your protest around versus, your home address. There could be some concern about people who are interested in registering their homes and businesses as safe houses, which would be something that we would really look towards encryption for, to make sure that our users are being as safe as possible and that none of their data has any chance of being leaked or hacked into.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's a great response. And as I said, love the idea. I think the security would probably be my biggest concern. And then one more question I had for you guys was on the, and I'm only asking these because I do really like this idea. So on the part where you were talking about, what was it? Oh, for your partners, your sponsorships. Ms. Williamson mentioned this earlier. I found that a lot of the people that would probably, your target audience in this is probably people that are attending protests for more than one type of community group. So I feel like people that are going to come to your app are like people that are going to be protesting Black Lives Matter, are going to be protesting wealth inequality. They're going to be protesting all these other things that are kind of all under the umbrella of oppression, right? And so I would just be really critical of the companies that you're putting on that list, because I know that like maybe with like their branding, something might tell you that like, oh, this is a great company or something. But I do know, just like off the top of my head, with Ben and Jerry's, a lot of those protests and like grassroots groups are kind of straying away from Ben and Jerry's because they're on a list of people that are trying to support Palestinians that are being oppressed currently. And or you have like a company like Walmart where a lot of their practices are directly oppressing a lot of marginalized people as well, in the way that they treat their employees. So I love the idea. I think it's great to have like corporate sponsorships and stuff, but I think when you're in this space, I think like you're going to get the most critique being a group that's trying to pull together activists. Like that's going to be about the hardest audience to please. So I would just be ultra cognizant of like every small point you do because it will be very heavily critiqued. And so when you bring on companies to put your name next to, make sure that those are organizations that your target audience aligns with as well, just in terms of your overall brand.
Very important.
I do very much agree with that. I feel like with this plan, we hope to be as transparent as possible, because a lot of times with a lot of companies, especially when it comes to social injustice, it doesn't always seem genuine, or that they're coming from a place of actually caring. So I think that will be something that we will have to touch on a little bit more.
That is awesome. Thank you guys so much. You guys put a lot of really good hard work into this, and we appreciate that greatly. So thank you.
Our business is affirmative action, brand development, and restoration. We are in the business of aiding yours.
Allow me to introduce our family members: Olivia Parker, Edward Hines, Veen Isa, myself, Jaylene Franklin, and Joshua Sturtevant.
Today we will be discussing what is affirmative action, brand advisory and development, brand restoration, our target market, why us, frequently asked questions, and conclusion.
Does your business have a tarnished reputation? Are you an individual who wants to start a business with no clue on where to start? Are you a minority with talent but have no place on where to use it? Question mark. Then partner with affirmative action, brand development, and restoration.
What is affirmative action? Affirmative action is business development and restoration. We help market, advertise, and build minority business by prioritizing the growth and success of the minority community. We offer business internships to local unemployed minorities with skills to help benefit our team, going as far as to put those same minorities in the ear of businesses who partner up with us. We also offer brand image restoration and rebuilding to companies with tarnished reputations through our wellness program.
At Affirmative Action, we offer business advisory and development. This means that we will take on all of the tedious and technical aspects of creating a business while our clients focus on developing their products. This makes the business starting easier. By targeting minorities for our services, we also hope to close the gap between the white entrepreneurs and the minority entrepreneurs. Some of the things that we offer: marketing analysis, brand and logos, web design, financial planning, and we also offer merchandise.
At Affirmative Action, we also specialize in brand restoration and restoring the image of tarnished companies. This includes doing business image restoration programs, as well as our wellness program, which includes a wellness training and rehab, diversity training courses, which teaches businesses on how to handle diverse situations, and then digital diversity pamphlets.
Our target market is disadvantaged citizens, minority businesses, and tarnished businesses with reputations.
Why us? Clients choose affirmative action, business development, and restoration to aid their journey in business startup and entrepreneurship. Clients also choose affirmative action to restore a public and positive image while also being provided our awareness training to improve the atmosphere in the workplace for marginalized groups.
Maria's story. Maria is a business owner in Atlanta, Georgia. She has had a successful brand business up until the recent murder of George Floyd. Maria spoke out reciting "All lives matter, when will these idiots know that?" in rebuttal to the quote, "Black lives matter." Due to this, she has received a decline in funds, clientele, and even has lost 3 African-American employees. Maria sent us an email discussing the regards, and so we recommended she do something to give back to the community within her field, as well as our wellness training and rehab, which she booked for 3 hours. After the wellness training and the purchase of a series of pamphlets discussing the meaning and movement of Black Lives Matter, Maria and the remainder of her team did a glam bus where they traveled in the city of Atlanta giving out beauty products in minority communities. This made Black News Beyond happy. Maria proceeded to invoke the training herself with her team, along with diversifying her staff, and even has come back to affirmative action to set up a new business that puts salon and more beauty stores in minority communities. Way to go, Maria.
Here are some of our frequently asked questions. How does AA give back to the community? We do this by hiring commonly minorities and put them on a 2-year contract. This will give them experience and help build their portfolio so that they can pursue the career that they're looking to go into. We also offer scholarships or a more permanent employee. We don't only do sensitivity trainings when you need restorations, so we don't discriminate those against who just want to learn more about social issues. If you're not looking to specifically change or improve your image, we offer our diversity training courses. What is your AA scholarships? Our scholarships are something that we offer to our college interns and employees who are eligible for it. We have scholarships ranging from $500 to $10,000. How does a team of having local minorities benefit you? By hiring minorities, we gain insight on what the community needs. And not only are we putting their talents into their business, we're gaining firsthand information and input on social issues that we might have missed ourselves that we can put into our diversity trainings for other clients.
Are there any questions?
Wow, now this is very interesting. So I just wanted to, good job guys, first off. Just to get a little bit of clarity. So in the example that you had with Maria, I understand your organization is brand development. Are you talking about so you're primarily talking personal brand, so kind of like a public relations type firm when somebody says something they shouldn't have said and kind of mess themselves up. So I guess my question to you is, you're putting everybody through kind of this rehabilitation, this, how to be kind 101 kind of session, and then you're helping them kind of image their brand, so to speak. That's a really curious concept to me, because my question to you is, how do you know the difference between someone who authentically wants to do better and know better and someone who just really cares about not losing profit and are going to just kind of say whatever to make it seem like they may not actually have these kind of racist views?
I guess you can tell that she would want to do different because, when the community gives you backlash, especially like on social media and things of that nature, you kind of take a step back and be like, what really happened? How could I have done this better? How could I have said this better? Or even if that was my opinion, done it differently or said it in a way where it wasn't offending, clientele, where it wasn't offending employees and things like that.
And also with our business image restoration, that sort of wellness training is also kind of required. So even if they intentionally don't come in to learn something, we hope through our training that we can reach to them in a way that will change their views.
I can jump in. Can I beat you there, Quincy? Can you speak a little bit more to how you will measure success for your business? What is kind of the end goal, and how are you going to be measuring whether or not what you're doing is successful?
Well, one of our main goals is definitely reaching out into the minority community and getting people who are unemployed and people who are not really seen, because of not having college degrees and things like that, taking them in, giving them a place to work where they can increase their talent and skills in their field that they like to do from home. And then another thing that we do is branching out to minority minorities who want to be business owners and helping them start and develop that business. So it would be more, minority businesses being brought on so it can level the playing field.
Yeah, I think, do you have the ability to pull that testimonial slide up about Maria back up again? I'd love to just make sure I capture everything that's going on there, because I think I have maybe a follow-up question that speaks to Keisha's point. But I think in there I saw that one of the ways that you were kind of applauding her efforts was that she was going into the community and giving away her product, et cetera, right? I think to Keisha's question, I'm wondering. There we go. Okay, cool. So here, I think that maybe you might want to just get a little more specific with some of the ways you're measuring success at the bottom here of, I think that not all of these actions are probably weighted equally. And so if you're going to be about making sure you're really trying to reform folks and making sure they're doing things that are meaningfully to repair their reputation, I think some of these, you want to be careful. Product giveaways are probably not weighted the same as diversifying staff, but then also the idea of new stores. Well, who's owning those stores? Is Maria just basically helping to build more wealth for herself, or is she empowering other people from marginalized communities to be able to become those owners themselves? I think those are two very different things. I think there would be indications of whether or not she really was reformed in her thinking. Right. Is she just using this to get more money, or is she using this to actually empower those around her?
All right, any other questions? We have about 3 more minutes for questions. Any other questions?
I had a question. So if one of you guys could say kind of in one sentence, who's your audience and what do you do for them? If someone had to ask you in a quick, you're in an elevator with them and you have 2 seconds to explain what you do, what would you say?
I would say that we would help for people who either need to start up business or for businesses who have done something wrong in the past and need that help in rebuilding their reputation and or profit or clientele. So that's what I would say in 1 or 2 minutes.
Good, thank you. I would say, I feel like the first point that you made is much more important than the second one, because I feel like you guys have this great mission of trying to support these budding entrepreneurs and people that don't have resources. I love the scholarships and the internships and all that stuff. I think you could funnel all of those resources directly into them and really try to strengthen that offering. And then maybe as you continue to grow out, you think about, oh, how can we reform other companies or something? But I think if your mission with affirmative action is to increase diversity or something, or support those that are diverse in that space, I think that they kind of would be a little bit confused and be like, oh, well, why are you sharing our resources with a person that might have done something directly to harm us, And so I would just think about, how do those audiences work under one kind of business roof? And how might your actions towards one affect the response towards the other? And which one would you prioritize in that way, given your mission? Yeah.
Good point. And just one other thing, if I could just jump in, I would also be cautious about the affirmative action connotation in terms of how you're positioning the name. I would even say maybe a play on that, affirmed in action or something to that point where again, I think depending on who you talk to, will depend upon their view on the benefits or if there are any of the idea of affirmative action. So like I said, it may be something where Yeah, the name in and of itself would kind of make me think, I don't know exactly what you're doing here, but maybe if you had a play on the name where it was like affirmed in my action or affirmed in action or something to that point, I don't know, maybe it would.
Yeah, I think,
Go ahead, I'm sorry, I think I was cutting somebody off.
oh, it's just, I think having launched an organization where I have to explain the name a lot, definitely think that you want to avoid anything where if you're going to have to be kind of taking a lot of time just to even explain the name, you kind of want to go 0 to 60 to Quincy's point of like, what's something that just launches forward that just already implies and that doesn't maybe associate too much with a lot of other things that you might not necessarily be doing. So if your mission centers around the uplifting of, you know, historically marginalized groups, then okay, maybe, you know, affirmative action, but you're also, people think that and they think, oh, what are you doing on a policy level? There's a lot that goes into that that you might not have anything to do with. So it might be, how do you get to that same spirit, you know, with words that have that same sentiment of, you know, rise or mobility, or just kind of doing kind of a brainstorm, because yeah, that what people's, how they form opinions of you in the first impression, it's really sticky and it's hard to come back from that. And you don't want to waste time, especially on those elevators, because a lot of times you're only going to have a few minutes to make your case.
That's true. That's true. Well, listen, thank you guys so much. Yes, very good.
Our group has developed a software called T, Talking Injustice Away. First, we will discuss the problem and our solution.
The problem. The problem we want to solve is people being treated unequally and not having a place to talk about it. The people who have this problem could be anyone, because not just one group of people are treated unequally. Everyone can be treated unequally in some way. Students with support networks can talk to family and friends. However, some students are without proper support networks, and some are intimidated by speaking with others and elders. We conducted a survey and found out that a lot of high schoolers experience social injustice, and 1 out of every 2 of them would like to talk about their experiences. Our solution is to create an app where people who have experienced different types of social injustice can come together and talk about their problems. Our solution is different because there's not another platform that gives space for people to conversate about social injustice. To have more people want to use our product, our solution will be free and we will use app advertisements.
The customers are a very important part in developing an app. Here's how we will involve them.
Potential customers will download our app via the App Store or Play Store. The app will be available for free, but $3.99 for an ad-free version. Potential customers will download the app to share issues of social injustice and engage in conversation and discussion of injustice and resolutions.
This is our desired layout for the app. Upon entering, you will see our T logo and 2 buttons for our chat room, and 1 for our video chat option. The chat room option will look like a normal text message. The video chat option will look like a FaceTime call, but start with a 1-minute long limit. Friending each other will increase your time. This is how we will promote the T app.
There are no other developed extensions or apps with the same purpose as T, so this app will help people without a good support system talk about social injustices. As we know, history repeats itself, and we don't want to allow history to be repeated with injustice included.
This is how the app will impact the community.
High schoolers will be able to use the T app and may feel more comfortable using the app while being able to remain anonymous along with reporting injustices, whether being a victim or witness to it. Generation Z being the intense technology age, we tend to spend 20% more time on apps compared to the rest of the population, which means we have a huge impact on app growth. The annual growth rate of an app being 8.7% has been said to reach over $102 billion. The average advertising spending from internet users is $21.91. An example being Instagram and Facebook, with the same advertising fee being $1 per day for impressions, $5 per day for clicks, likes, and views, $40 per day for app installs and offer claims. Some ways the T app can and will impact society is by giving people a way to vent and tell their stories about any forms of social injustice. Yes, there is value to all three because if someone has experienced a form of social injustice, they will most likely want to talk to someone who has experienced the similar things as them. So then they may feel more comfortable and be able to vent and let out pent up emotions.
Here's how our app will be paid for.
The thing that leads companies to advertise within an app is that they're looking to reach a specific audience. The things required for in-app advertising is by going through an ad agency or companies who have app stores. There is no requirement for you to have apps and to have advertising in your apps, but you need at least 100,000 people to make any form of sizable profit. There's two things: CPC, which means cost per click, and CTR, which is click-through rate. Cost per click is exactly what it sounds like, how much money it requires. It costs the people who want the ad to have someone click on their advertisement. And the click-through rate is the percentage of money that you get for that advertisement. Mental health facilities, psychologist offices are people who would be interested in advertising. Agencies like the NAACP and the NUL would be examples of people who hope to invest in our product.
Okay, any questions, comments, or concerns?
This is great, guys. This is, I mean, I'm just blown away. This is great. You guys did a wonderful job in developing this app concept. One question I just want to start off with is, but how do you prevent trolling? Because that seems to be a big issue right now. People who look to be, legit and ready to have like some real powerful conversations, but then they're just out there trying to cause problems.
We have not thought about this yet or developed it, but we would probably have like monitors on the app.
There'd be a reporting system. So if you caught someone trolling, then you could report them for doing that kind of thing.
I had a question as well. Kind of speaking of that, we've seen in the last few days the increase of questions around conduct on these different media sites and things like that. So, I mean, will there be any kind of rules around, what folks can say or different things, or will it just be essentially, kind of anything goes in terms of the content of what people can say and post and do and things that they on the platform?
Well, I've noticed that on some social medias, they're like a little bit too strict on what you can say. Like you might not mean anything by it, but probably just keep it monitored, like make sure it's not in like a negative aspect of what people are saying.
One question. Really like this idea too, and I really like the market research that you guys did. I love the numbers and detail that you guys had on this. My question for you is, kind of with that market analysis, you were saying that there aren't any other apps out there like this. Kind of what first came to mind for me was how I use Twitter and how I think a lot of people use it. So I would just kind of be curious to know like what you guys think differentiates you from Twitter, and kind of another part to that question would be, you guys talked about how do we get this ad revenue, if that's how you guys are making your money. And you said that you'd have to have like 100,000 people for it to even be worth it. So how do you plan on attracting those people that would probably go to Twitter to talk about these issues and discuss these things to your site? Yeah.
Okay. So with your first question about, well, I'm sorry, could you repeat the first question?
Yeah, I was just kind of, how do you guys differentiate yourselves from Twitter? And if you do, how would you attract the people that use Twitter for this kind of model to your site?
Okay. Well, ours is different from Twitter because it's basically made to like chat with like individual people instead of like an entire platform as a whole. So, I mean, people, it really just depends on the person that would use it, I guess. And then with the second question about the ad revenue, we were thinking also getting like sponsors and donations to help us get the app started and everything. And then once it's like pretty developed, then the ads just would come in naturally.
And how would you get the people to come in naturally?
I mean, apps like TikTok would help, like to push it out and everything.
Thank you.
Very good. Are there any other questions? We have about 2 more minutes. If not, we can dismiss you guys back to your room, but.
Have you, it sounds like if you're attracting an audience who are wanting to talk through issues of being affected by injustice of some form, did I miss this, but do you have like trained facilitators, people who would be able, mental health practitioners, et cetera, counselors that would be able to speak, you know, kind of an educated perspective on helping people walk through trauma, or is this more peer space only? Have you thought about playing in both those lanes or just one?
Well, with my original, I did the little picture with the phone on it and everything. So what I did on the original one, I thought to like have like something that said like free help and everything. Like if someone's like going through like depression or anything like that, they could get like free help from the app. But then again, we'd have to have like sponsors for it and someone willing to do it for free.
Well, I think that's where you might consider, you know, that's one thing that we're actually looking into in our own company, of people who are processing trauma right now and how we can connect them with mental health providers. We're seeing a huge need of people who are, you know, historically, you know, victims of injustice, need to talk to people, as do the people who are serving that population, because that is very tiresome work. So it might be an interesting revenue model of you being able to connect mental health practitioners to people who are needed to talk to them, and maybe even be able to carve out a little bit of revenue that way. Because I think not everyone is gifted to, or not everyone is going to have meaningful, helpful things to say, I guess. So you might want to think about how you could, have you thought about how you would help to filter that? Or is it mostly just a peer-to-peer, come and just try to find a friend to talk to?
I mean, I guess both.
Okay.
It could be both for anything.
And I had a question kind of on what Rob and Mr. McCoy were saying, kind of on the making sure, or you're talking about like trolling and stuff. And one thing that I was kind of concerned about was when you said that, like, oh, there's other apps and stuff out there that are kind of more strict. I would say, like, make sure you're thinking more about how that app differs to yours and what those protocols would be on your app. Because if I would go on your app and like wanted to talk about, oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe what so-and-so said and all these things. And if you're saying that those protocols are less strict than the monitoring for other apps, I would just be worried that someone could go on there and kind of invalidate everything I'm saying and be like, oh, that doesn't really matter, and like stuff like that. Does that make sense?
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just think about that.
Okay. Great. Thank you guys again. Great job. Good work. Yeah, good work, guys. Good work.
All right, well, good morning to everyone. We'll be starting this presentation off with a quote. Our children are the rock on which our future will be built, our greatest asset as a nation. They'll be the leaders of our country, the creators of our national wealth, those who care for and protect our people. And this quote is by Nelson Mandela, and it's so powerful. We chose it because it stands for what our organization is built upon, which is children are our future. And without them, we as a nation, a country, or anything would not prosper or grow. Remember, children with empty bellies are children with empty minds.
So as Rama just beautifully stated, that is what our group decided to focus on, food insecurity within the youth community. So We Eat is a nonprofit that solely serves low-income youth that are experiencing any type of food insecurity. And our group name is the Justice League. My name is Cole Francis. We also have Stephanie Carlos Cias, Connor Davidson, Gabe Shaw, and Ramada Suma. So you may be wondering, what is food insecurity and why is it such a big issue and who does it affect? So food insecurity is the state of being without a reliable access to a sufficient quantity of nutritious and affordable food. And it can affect people at many different levels. So that is why it is so important and so crucial that we help kids suffering with this issue at any level.
And that is why our organization thought, why don't we kill two birds with one stone? Because if you didn't know already, currently 37 million people all across the US, and that includes the 11 million children who are suffering from food insecurities. And at the same time, the United States is a global leader for food waste, and the United States restaurants waste about 22 to 33 billion pounds of food each year. And that's a big problem. So the big question is, how do we solve this issue? Well, our organization are going to be working with restaurants, and these restaurants will be donating food to our organization by contacting us on our website, where they will fill out basic information. We will also have high school and college volunteers who will pick up and drop off the food at the located school or home. This is beneficial to all groups because we as our organization will be reaching our goal of reducing food insecurities for the youth. We'll be helping high school and college students earn their community service hours, and we'll be promoting the restaurants that work with us on all our social platforms. And also a big question that you might have is, how is our solution better and how is it more effective? Well, our solution is more effective.
You may have heard the talk of diversity, sensitivity training, and body cameras. These are all fine and applicable. But the truth is that the police reflect America and all of its will and fear. What exactly does that say about America then? Good morning. My name is Reagan Woods, and I am one of the founders of RPT. Other founders here with us today include Nicole, Jonathan, Braylon, and Elvin. RPT, otherwise known as Reforming Police Training, is a nonprofit organization. Our main goal is to re-educate police cadets on the proper techniques they can use to reflect the community as a whole. Here is an introduction of what we will be doing today. And the floor is yours, Nicole.
So this is our executive summary. For our description of service, we want to implement a new training for police officers so we can keep the bias and the cruelty off the force. Our target market is the police academy and people who want to serve and protect their community. Our team is equipped with 5 teens that are sick and tired of the Black community being mistreated by the police. The funds that are being collected by tax dollars, fundraisers, loans, and cash. Our milestones would first be that all North Carolina will have this implemented. Then we want the whole East Coast to have it. And eventually we want the whole United States to have this program.
I'll just give you a few seconds to look at some of the aspects of our business model. What we mainly want you to take away from this is our value propositions. We want our cadets to be better equipped one badge at a time.
The problem that needs to be solved. Police manuals and academies have ineffective training that can lead to police brutality and corruption. This includes unjust bullying, physical or verbal harassment, physical or mental injury, property damage, death, and more. Police manuals don't often focus on de-escalation. The Fayetteville police station, like many, say whatever force is given, you give equal force back. Who does this problem affect? Black residents are 8 times more likely to be stopped by police than white residents and are 11 times more likely to be body searched. Black men are 2.5 times more likely to be killed than white people by police. So this issue affects how much police can get away with, and it affects minorities and disproportionately affects the Black community.
As of 2016, Seattle Police has created a list of goals that include complying with the DUC agreement, enhancing the department through dynamic hiring practices, supporting 5 other interagencies to address quality issues, etc. Currently today, state lawmakers are pushing for bills and improvement. By improvement, I mean certain states are currently trying to push for banning the use of chokehold and other harming techniques. We plan on solving this problem by executing what has been listed efficiently and effectively. According to the FBI database, only 40% of our country's police forces are being tracked by misconduct. RPT ensures that even after training, our services have a lasting effect. Plus, we provide the police force with non-biased supervisors. Cadets have to ask permission from them when it comes to using their weapons.
How we will measure success. Before and after class, every officer will take a survey. We will measure our success based on the surveys and assessments. So questions would look like, have you learned anything new? If so, what? Do you currently have any complaints against you for being violent? If so, why? And what's something useful you think we can add to our program? And our team will also look at incidents where police had to use force to compare and determine the increase or decrease in those incidents after our training occurs. And why will people pay for the solution? Well, our police training education program is a win-win for not only police, but for the civilians as well who live in the area. In many cities and counties around the US, the taxpayer is ultimately held financially responsible for citizen payouts due to police misconduct. These payouts typically come from the general budget of the city and or county. Currently, civil payments have little impact on the police department budget. In order to make up for the loss of funds, cities and counties often raise taxes, and no one likes taxes to be raised. Our program will be effective because it will train police officers to be not only aware of their actions, but to use de-escalation tactics when needed. This will decrease the amount of police misconduct cases, which will ultimately ease the financial burden of the taxpayers because there won't be many civilian payouts. The city can then reallocate that funding to our police education system. Once that happens, communities will start to see things like strengthen community relations with officers, also strengthen officer knowledge on de-escalation and mental illness, decrease police brutality and corruption, and decrease officer bias and prejudice against citizens and community members.
Why will potential customers purchase our product? Police officers will join our services to help re-educate themselves on how to deal with certain situations without using brutality. Our services will also lead to a possible decrease in police using violence to other civilians.
How will potential customers know about it and purchase our solution? Well, first, how would they know about it? Word of mouth is crucial to get people to know about a nonprofit. Other police chiefs would tell the surrounding police chiefs about the success, which brings me to the next point. Our success rate will be told on social media, in the press, paid ads, and email marketing. Next, how would they purchase it? They can purchase it through tax dollars money because they get more money than they need already. Then fundraisers, loans from the government, and cash, where all police have to pay for defeat of the training. How are a nonprofit be funded? We will be funded through grants, companies, private investors, and other nonprofits that want to contribute to the cause. In conclusion, we want people to see that police brutality is a real issue and the police need to stop treating the Black community, targeting the Black community. As Ivan Hawken once said, you need to learn from your mistakes to start a new beginning. Now we have some time for any questions.
All right, good job, guys. Good job. Any questions? We have about 7 minutes for questions.
I can start. Really like the idea. I think it's very clear that police definitely need to change a lot of stuff, and I agree with you guys. I'm also, I don't know the terms that you guys use, but upset and frustrated and all the above. So see you there. But so my question would be, if your target audience is cops, I think like you did talk about like ways that you differentiate from what's out there, but what incentivizes cops, or even in this case would force them to use this? Like, I think there are a lot of stuff out there right now, that great materials, workshops, all these things around de-escalation in other countries, models and all that stuff, that have been proven successful. So in that way, what differentiates you guys in terms of incentivizing your target audience to participate in this? Because I think, as you guys can see, cops have more than enough money in their budget, so I don't really think that's the issue. So in your idea, what would you guys do to tackle kind of the lack of urgency that police organizations have towards using these trainings?
Well, I would say, since we are partnered with like telemental health, which is actually growing in the industry, telemental health, we should want to implement that into our training too, because it is important to address mental health inside the police communities, know that they are mentally stable enough to be out there and patrolling our streets. Mm-hmm. So that would be awesome. That would be like our incentive for we're different than, yeah.
I like that approach.
Can you speak a little bit more to, I think you laid out a little bit of a sustainability plan when it comes to your revenue, but how you will be measuring your success, and kind of what does that end vision look like if you are successful? How are you going to know you will have succeeded?
Well, we want to look at the numbers of people getting shot by the police, and we plan to see a decrease in it as the program gets bigger. So we would do it by that. Not only by that, but the amount of bias in the police academy.
How would you work? So it's a tricky thing, right? Because there's so many factors that contribute, not just whether or not you have good cops or bad cops, right? I mean, there's a lot of other things that, you know, you potentially run the risk of, if you measure that stat and it's influenced by 10 other things that you had nothing to do with, you're, it might prove difficult. How would you find ways to kind of separate yourself to be able to prove causation? That, hey, you know what, we're doing this, and the violence that went down because of us, you know, because if it goes up by 10 other things, you don't want to be like, well, oh, actually, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. So have you thought a little bit about how you are specifically going to be able to prove your impact in ways that aren't shaped by external factors outside of your control?
I feel like with the survey that Elvin was talking about that they take every week, we could ask certain questions about not only their life on the force, but their life at home and their childhood, probably, that might have caused them being biased or cruel. Is that what you're asking?
I think as far as the template, I do think that's a great idea of, when it comes to qualitative data, surveying your participants, maybe establishing baselines from before they enter into your program and then after. I think that can be incredibly helpful. We do that in our organization because what I'm asking is a little bit of an unfair question, because no nonprofit can really prove what I'm asking. But I think a survey is one example of you being able to follow people over time to see if their answers change over time. That will definitely be something that's helpful to you. And I would encourage you maybe blending that with maybe just not being the only thing you measure is crime in the community, because there's so many factors you can't control there. So I think that you're on the right track thinking about surveys.
I also think it's great that there is talk to having this kind of national database for police officers. I think that's really an issue right now, and that, it is not known in a lot of these precincts whether or not a police officer has been fired in a different precinct because of these types of issues. So I certainly hope that more of these types of efforts will emerge to, obviously do the training that you guys are suggesting, but really keeping a more cohesive database so that we can get those bad seeds out of here, and really work to, strengthen our system. So you guys are really right on the money. And did just an amazing job, and you should all feel so proud of yourselves. Thank you, Dr. Henderson. She's written in the chat. Congratulations to everyone. You guys did an amazing job. So I want to just let you know that first and foremost, okay? You guys put in so much work into all of this. So everybody is a winner by leaps and bounds. So I want you guys to know that, okay? Yes, round of applause. You all are well deserving of all kinds of accolades. I cannot wait I'm gonna show your parents these videos as well, because they need to see the kind of work you guys did this week. So look out for your inbox and you'll get the videos. But this particular group really just, kind of just knocked it out of the ballpark, was very prepared with the answers to the questions that they were given from the judges, or from not the judges, the audiences, and we just really had a well thought out concept. And so again, we thank you all, and we want to announce that the winner is, can you see me? Okay, I can't see me. Dora Melange! Yay! Congratulations, guys. And gals, congratulations.
Well done. Well
Dora
done.
Melange. Very, very good. You guys should be very proud. Hold on, stop my share. And then where is my door? There's my door. Yay! Wave to me, yay! Congratulations, guys. You guys are amazing. And again,
Well deserved.
Well deserved. Wakanda forever. Absolutely. I should say
It wasn't just because
our
of that
all-female
reference.
group there. Our all-female group there. So you guys knocked it out. Again, we thank you. We hope and we pray that you guys continue to just be amazing and do amazing things. I'm getting text messages as you guys are speaking, and they're saying like the world is going to be so much better because you guys are in it, and we need you. We need you. Okay, so continue to fight the good fight. Know that we're here for you with any resources you may need. We got a ton of people leaving stuff in the chat room, so please look at some of this stuff, okay? Because we are doing our kind of parting words right now. But this doesn't mean it's the end of you hearing from me, because you're going to be getting some more information from me as the days go on. So be looking out for that. But again, thank you guys. I appreciate you all. Continue to have a great summer. Continue to be prosperous, and enter in that next year. It's going to look a little different. That's okay. But you guys are fully equipped, and you're ready for this. You are ready for this. Okay? Yes, Destiny.
Quick question. Can you break us into our groups for one final time? I know my group wanted to talk and everything. So is there any way you can do that for us?
Without a doubt, I absolutely can. For sure. No problem at all. I'm going to do that. Are there any other thoughts? Any other thoughts before we dismiss?
I just want to say I really appreciate everything that you guys have done for us, and helping us have a platform to be able to do something in a more productive way than probably what everyone was doing with their quarantine. So thank you.
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. When my mama signed me up for this thing, I did not want to do it. And I thought it was stupid. I didn't want to start a business. I didn't want to be an entrepreneur.
That's fair.
I felt that.
But now that I'm in this, it's a question, and I think I want to do this. And everyone never did it with all of you, and it is especially Dr. Slade and Miss Williams, and I just really want to thank you guys, because now I'm really thinking about it, and I really didn't know what I was wanting to do. So thank you.
Look, Connor, it sounds like we did our job, right, Miss Williams?
Mission accomplished.